Hey, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Town of Bancroft Council meeting for March 11th, 2025. Remind everybody to turn off their telephones, and when you are talking into the microphone, please still stay pointed at the microphone. Apparently, if you turn your head away, people lose you. So, land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that we are gathered on the traditional territory of Indigenous peoples who have been stewards of the land since time immemorial. And as such, we treat the land, its plants, animals, stories, and people with honor and respect. Take a moment of silence, please. Thank you. So good afternoon, everyone. Since our last council meeting in February, several extremely significant events have transpired. The tariff and trade war threatened by the United States to Canada and other countries has materialized. Ontarians recently re-elected the Conservative government of Premier Doug Ford to lead our province for the next 4+ years. And the Liberal Party of Canada has selected Mark Carney as its new leader and the next Prime Minister of Canada, with a national election most certainly on the horizon. While all of these events could certainly appear independent of each other, that is not the case, as both elections centered around the thinly veiled and unjustified trade war declared upon Canada by the United States. No matter what political party one supports, we all owe thanks to Premier Ford and outgoing Prime Minister Trudeau for their leadership and resolve in standing up to the erratic President of the United States, as a majority of his party remains silent while watching the turmoil he is creating both abroad and within our own country. So what does that mean for all of us in rural central Ontario? While we are not quite sure, we'd be naive to think that because we are somewhat distanced from the industrial heartland that we will escape unscathed. Our local economy is very dependent on the overall health of the greater economy, and more particularly to the economy of Southern Ontario. All of these events are most certainly having an impact on the preparation and finalization of our 2025 budget that was already facing extremely high cost pressures. I can assure all of our residents that we are scrutinizing all of our costs and the impact on levels of service that we have all become accustomed to, but may be required to adjust. Other items of importance that we're working on include collaborating with Hastings County on relocation of the warming room to a permanent location, with the hope that expanded services will materialize. We were also recently informed that our pending application to the Federal Housing Accelerator Fund was denied, leaving us very few options to promote the creation of affordable housing within our town. While affordable or social housing is not the responsibility of the lower tier governments like the town of Bancroft, we have spent considerable time and effort and money to provide this much needed housing for our residents. The repeated declines we have received on numerous program applications are regrettable, but leave us no choice to turn our limited resources elsewhere and leave housing to the upper levels of government where it is mandated. Thank you. Adoption of the open session agenda. Be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Bancroft is hereby approve of the open session agenda dated March 11th, 2025 as presented. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Lawrence and Councillor McGibbon. All in favor, please? Pass. Thank you. Any declaration of pecuniary interest and nature thereof? Seeing none. So today, first on our agenda, we have a delegation presentation from the Bancroft Horticultural Society. So please come up. Let us know who you are. Pull the microphone down and maybe push the button there so the red light comes on. Okay, you've done better than we all did.
Good afternoon. My name is Tina Ferrani, and I am the treasurer for the Bancroft Horticultural Society. The Bancroft Horticultural Society has been a member of the Ontario Horticultural Society since 1999. We are a non-registered, not-for-profit with a mandate to improve the knowledge and enjoyment of horticulture to residents in the town of Bancroft. Bancroft Horticultural Society maintains the gardens at the post office, Centennial Manor, Bancroft Library, and Millennium Park. Thank you. So Millennium Park is a centrally located meeting place for both residents and visitors, where many events are held every year. It is also home to Millennium Park Garden that was constructed by volunteers of the society in the year 2000. This garden has served the community well, but the garden is tired and is in need of revitalization. Over the last year, we have taken the time to remove all of the plants, and with the town's support, has been extremely supportive at helping prepare the existing garden for the revitalization by removing a layer of topsoil, a lot of rocks, and plants that we could not dig out. They were too big for us to dig out. So Bancroft Horticultural Society is currently in discussion with a landscaper, and this is a sample of one of the designs we're looking at for the new garden. They're not quite 100% yet, but you'll see that it's going to be constructed with native rock that's locally sourced. And it's going to have 8-foot walkways that are hard packed to allow for strollers, wheelchairs, and walkers for residents to enter the garden, where there is a number of native and pollinator plants, trees and shrubs and perennials will be located in the garden. I just have the next slide. Thank you. So the focal part of the garden will be a circular resin bench with seating for 12. The gray one on the top is a sample of the resin, and we are going to plant a tree in the middle of the bench. It will be in the middle of the garden, and this will allow residents and visitors to sit and enjoy the beauty of the garden and the surrounding area of the park. BHS has identified a resource to purchase this product locally, so it'll be Canadian made. We've gotten 3 quotes for the product. And what we're asking for today is the town of Bancroft's support in applying for a local initiative partnership project grant from the Community Futures Development Corporation of North Central Hastings and South Algonquin to apply for $3,000 to purchase the bench. Because we're non-registered, we can't do it by ourselves, and it seemed a natural fit to come to the town to ask for your support in being the lead applicant to apply for the grant with CFDC.
Thank you. Comments, questions from members of council? Button.
Ed Button. Great looking design here. I just on the round one, is that a walkable? Do we walk in there?
Mm-hmm.
So that is a trellis or whatever you walk under.
You know what, that is just sort of an artist's interpretation.
Oh.
So not sure the arbor is going to be there.
Yeah.
But the focal point of that will be all of that beautiful native rock that is, part of our community. And all the trees and plants and shrubs with the bench will be in the middle with seating for 12 people.
So the bench will be in the middle of this rather than the tree that's here? Or?
Well, the bench will go around a tree that's planted there.
Okay, thank you.
I'd just like to say thank you for all the work that you folks do that we don't see you doing, and the gardens look great, and I'm looking forward to this one this summer, hopefully.
Yeah, we're excited to get it completed.
When do you know when the grant is closed and.
Yes, so I have been in touch with Melanie at CFDC, and she actually was the person who suggested we reach out to you first, since we are non-registered. And they, when I talked to her in mid-February, there was money left for this funding year. I believe their funding year ends March 31st because they're funded through the federal government. But she also said they will have more money for next year.
Okay.
So.
Could I ask a question? Is there a motion coming forward from this? You're scribbling. Okay, thank you very much.
Oh, I forgot to turn my mic on. I'm scribbling right there. Sir, who was asking? Oh, sorry, Councillor McGibbon, where are you? There you are. Yes.
I just wanted to say that looks awesome. Thank you so much for all that you do in our community. You keep our gardens looking fabulous, and that, you know, speaks volumes to those visiting our town. So I think this looks great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Councillor Miles.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Amber, can you, we've had a little bit of communication between Jennifer and the Horticultural Society regarding the bit with the CFDC. So where are we with all of that? Do you know?
I can answer that question, actually.
Thank you.
Jennifer said that before we were able to move forward, it would need to have council's approval.
So the motion that we have before us is, be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Bancroft is hereby received a presentation from the Bancroft Horticultural Society. I was going to suggest we add to that and provide necessary support to apply for funding from CFDC. Would you like to make that motion?
I would make that motion.
Seconder, please. Okay, seconded by Councillor Miles. All in favor, please. Again, thank you very much. And I'd like to echo everybody's sentiment for the great work you guys do. And
Excuse me, could you just introduce
Oh,
your?
yes, I'm sorry. So this is Selena Flynn. She is our membership coordinator. And oh my God, sorry, Lindsay Pickering. She is our secretary. And Dorothy O'Brien is our vice president, but she is a licensed horticulturalist. So she's kind of the brains behind the operation from that perspective. And our president, Pam Bromley. So
you remember everybody's name. Good for you.
thanks very much for your time.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on. Item 7, minutes of previous session. Be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Bancroft is hereby approve of the minutes of the meeting of council held on February 11, 2025 and February 27, 2025 as presented. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Wiggins and Councillor Eastman. Are there any comments or questions on those minutes? Seeing none, all in favor, please? So passed. Item 8, minutes of standing committees and local boards. A, the Budget Committee. Be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Bancroft is hereby approve of the minutes of the Budget Committee meeting held on February 13, 2025 as presented. Councillor Lawrence, you'll move that. And seconder, please, Councillor Wiggins. Councillor Lawrence, would you like to, in general, talk about what transpired at the meeting? Because you won't find it from the minutes.
Okay. We had an introduction from Andra on, I guess, the capital issues and capital requests. And there was not at the time an operational budget showing all the expenses and revenues expected for this fiscal year. But I think it was a good opening meeting. Next meeting is next Tuesday, so the 18th. And we expect to get more into the nitty-gritty, the operational details, as well as some further work on the capital and I guess on reserves as well. So,
thank you. Anybody have any questions or comments on that? So, as I alluded to in my opening remarks, there are a lot of cost pressures that continue on pretty well everything. Even though inflation has slowed down, we're still playing catch up on a lot of items, and a lot of the items that that we require to operate day to day don't seem to be captured in the CPI the way that they seem to affect us. So we're working hard to keep everything as low as possible. but it is a challenge. So thank you very much. The next item, the Recreation Committee. We have two resolutions. Oh, did I not say all in favor? All in favor on the budget one? Just so anxious to get ahead. Okay, now we're on to the Recreation Committee. We have two resolutions before us on that. We'll tackle the first one. Be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of Town of Bancroft is hereby receive the minutes of the Recreation Committee meeting held on February 18th, 2025 as presented. Councillor Miles, you will move that. And a seconder on that one, please. Councillor Eastman, for you. Thank you. Councillor Miles.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. We had a really, really good meeting. We sort of reviewed where we are with Riverside Park and the installation of the new fully accessible playground coming. We talked a little bit about sort of where we think the community center will be moving, in what direction with some governance, the arena center, the community center will be moving. We spent a fair amount of time talking about Dungannon, because just as the community center where the arena is, it is a facility that is used by the entire region. It's not just used by the residents of Bancroft. So as we'll see in a further resolution that you'll be putting on the floor, Mr. Mayor, we're going to do a little bit of data gathering, just to have an idea who's using our facilities, what are they being used for, and just to make sure that we're aware of, in a continued fashion, we provide services to the region, not just to the residents of Bancroft. We talked to, the minutes are there, so we talked about all kinds of things. And you will be putting a resolution on the table. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to adjust that because we also gave staff some direction to reach out to the tennis club. We want to have the tennis club here and talk sort of about what the tennis club is up there. Where could we be with some expansion regarding pickleball? And we didn't, that's not in this thing for.
So we'll tackle the Dungannon resolution and then we'll come back and then you can
Great.
Put on the table another one.
So we did talk about sort of that space that's up by the community center, what the future could be in terms of lots of usage, where the ball diamonds are. We talked about how much the rinks were used this year. So it was a really good discussion, and I look forward to having the group really talk about what the usage is of Dungannon and start talking about some other ways that we can enhance the recreational experience for our visitors and for our region and for our constituents.
Thank you. And yes, so we'll tackle the first resolution here, which is the one I put on the floor there, but receiving the report. So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please. Thank you. Pass. Second resolution, be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of Town of Bancroft direct staff prepare a letter to the Shamrock Club asking for the demographics of their group, age range, residing area, etc., for the purpose of obtaining remuneration data for the Town of Bancroft at the Dungannon Recreation Center. You'll move that again, Councillor Miles. Seconder, please, Councillor Wiggins. And just to echo, I think it's important, you know, as we continue to lobby to the upper levels of government for changes in funding formulas, et cetera, that we're able to accurately depict what we do and who we provide services for. That's the only purpose for this. You know, the Shamrock Club, we've had a great relationship with them for a number of years. They've done great work at the community center. So that's really, you know, what we require this data for, you know. So any comments on that? So all in favor? Thank you. And now back to the resolution that you'd like to put on the floor regarding the tennis club.
I'd like to make a resolution that council asks staff to reach out and invite the tennis club to our next Parks and Recreation meeting to be part of the discussion regarding the tennis and pickleball and that area up by the arena.
Can you move that?
I can. So moved.
Okay, second, Councillor Wiggins. All in favor, please. Pass. Thank you. Okay. Item C, Bancroft Community Safety and Wellbeing Committee. Be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of Town of Bancroft is hereby approve of the minutes of the Bancroft Community Safety and Wellbeing Committee meeting held on February 19, 2025 as presented. You'll move that, Deputy Mayor Wiggins? I keep forgetting to call you Deputy Mayor. Sorry about that. And Councillor Eastman will second that. Councillor Deputy Mayor Wiggins, Deputy Mayor Wiggins. I'll say it 10 times and I'll still forget. Please.
Not a problem, Your Honor. Just quick notes on, was a kind of a bring the committee up to date of things that are happening and possibly happening in the town, just to keep it the safety and well-being of our, stressing that part of our new council. We had a couple of delegations. We had Kevin Taylor came and give us an update on the Little Blue Cabins, and it's a go. They're still working on some final. They need zoning and movement, so they're waiting on that. It will be located in Hastings Highland District, was what the plan is. And I was surprised, but they're talking a total of 20 cabins. I thought that was more than I'd understood. Anyway, the other thing is they now have the 9 tents for the community dinner, which they run in the park here, which is great. They also wanted to thank St. John's Anglican for providing the insurance for that dinner, which is another note that we made. There was advertised on Facebook and whatever. There was a warning about a ripoff from a tow truck industry. According to our OPP, that's not a problem in Bancroft. And I'll see, there's a school bus congestion up by the Lady Mercy school, and we have another meeting set up with them towards the end of 1st of April, pardon me, to look at if we can solve that a little bit. It's the congestion on 28 school and the school intersection there. What else we got here? That's about it, I think, of highlights. I could ask any questions. Everyone has the minutes. Any questions from anyone? No?
Any comments or questions? So to comment for me, I thought it was a really good meeting. I think we all realize that it is in general an information sharing session. We are somewhat limited to what we can do. We bring attention of matters to people and we hear any concerns that any particular group may have. And I believe it was that we had decided to meet quarterly.
Yes.
So our next meeting would be quarterly on that one. So any other comments or questions on that? Seeing none, all in favor, please. Thank you. Item D, Committee of the Whole. Be resolved, the Council of the Corporation of Town of Bancroft is hereby approve of the minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting held on February 2025 as presented. Could I have a mover and a seconder on that one, please? Councillor Eastman, thank you very much. And a seconder, Councillor McGibbon. Who would like to jog our memory what we chatted about in that meeting? I think that dealt with the, was that with the garbage bag tags?
It was.
Maybe you could.
Okay, there we go. Gotta get my minutes here. So the biggest part of the discussion of that meeting, we did talk about recruitment policy, and some direction was provided by staff to bring back some updates to that policy, which our clerk's office is currently working on. So you will be seeing that here relatively soon. A big part of the meeting was spent talking about waste management and garbage bag tags in particular. We are, as a result of changes to the provincial recycling program, going to lose a significant amount of financial sources from the province, which we used to receive to offer recycling programs and diversion programs in our community. So we need to find a way to recapture that loss in that waste management department. So the proposal from staff was to increase bag tag fees for commercial, industrial commercial properties to $2 this year with 50-cent increments over the next several years, and to introduce a $1 per bag tag for residential customers, which is significantly lower than the rates in similar municipalities to ours. So that motion was carried, but when we got into the waste management bylaw, there was further direction provided to staff that before any implementation could occur, we needed to come back with a further update and revision to that policy relating to implementation of that bag tag policy, clearing up a couple of questions about who would get free tags, if anyone would get free tags, how that would all happen. So we are working on that report as well to bring back to committee of the whole at the end of the month for further discussion and to move that along. We also clarified an outstanding issue with regard to bin sizes and perceived tipping fee discrepancies associated with that, which has now been resolved as well. So those were the bulk of conversations related to waste and recycling.
Thank you. And although I have commented on many times, I'll comment again just to follow up what Andra said about the new blue box recycling program. The overarching goal was to reduce costs to municipalities and to increase diversion rates. Unfortunately, in our municipality, it's having the direct opposite effect because, as Andra mentioned, the revenue that we were losing, because we were able to incorporate our blue box collection within our waste management system. So we had efficiencies there. In addition, we at no charge collected the recycling from our IC&I industrial, commercial, institutional customers, which there is no corresponding remuneration received from the town, but it was a service that we provided to our business community. Unfortunately, with the new system, that particular program will not be available. And basically, the business community was left to fend for themselves. Unlike what happens in the south, where many of the businesses were already contracted to waste management services that were readily available to them, we have no such service up here available. So I just want to assure the business community that we continue to try and work on a solution for the business community, and we're still waiting for further details on the implementation of the program relating to the town of Bancroft so that we can determine how we might be able to help the business community. So a bit frustrating. July 1st is the date. We've been on this for several years and still haven't been able to get clarification. And I know our general manager was waiting for, as of the last meeting, was waiting for some clarification on some questions. And I don't think you have received those, or you have?
I have received a bit of information, but I'm still waiting for a couple of critical pieces to bring back a further recommendation to council.
So the bottom line, it's almost impossible for us to tailor what we do until we have certainty as to what is happening on the collection side that we will not have any control over come July 1st. So that's the story on that. So any other comments or questions on that report? Seeing none, all in favor, please. Thank you. Item E, North Hastings Public Library Board, be it resolved, the Council of the Corporation of Town of Bancroft is hereby received the minutes of the North Hastings Public Library meeting held on January 21st, 2025, as presented. You'll move that, Councillor Miles? Yes, I will. Seconder, please. Could I have a seconder on that, please? Councillor Eastman. Councillor Miles, would you like to speak to that, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The minutes are there and pretty self-explanatory. It's the time of year where we take a look at where our policy and procedure review bits are. So we spent some time talking about that. We talked a little bit about, we do a board review. So we've started that process. We also usually review the CEO, but we are in the position of just having the new CEO for about 6 months. So we are going to delay that for a little bit, just until we have a bit more time under our belts. And the library is humming along very well. It has been a real refreshing, I would say, 4 or 5 months. And Kate has now fully taken full stride in terms of all the responsibilities as CEO, Treasurer, Secretary with the board. And a thank you to Jennifer Poplinski, who carried us through some of the transition of bringing on the new CEO. But we're now, we also just changed over the signing regarding the banking. So we're fully autonomous now from except from the financial piece, which the council agreed to. But we're in really good shape at the library. They're running great programs. They're having really good results with who they're coming in. There are great flyers coming out. So if anybody pays attention to Facebook, they are posting out monthly flyers of what's happening at the library. And it feels very refreshing after a little bit of time of some bumps along the way with some staff changes. So if anybody has any questions, I can gladly answer them for you based on the minutes.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from Councillor Miles? Seeing none, all in favor, please. Thank you. Item 9, unfinished business. There is none. Item 10, business A, 2024 council remuneration expenses. Staff report, be it resolved, the council of the corporation of Town of Bancroft does hereby receive the 2024 council remuneration expenses report for information purposes only. Could I have a mover and a seconder on that? Deputy Mayor Wiggins, Councillor Mullet, you're sitting side by side to confuse me, I know. So Andre, maybe you would talk about the legislative requirement behind this, et cetera, et cetera.
I'll get used to this microphone thing. Yeah, so every year we do have to report on all of the financial activities of all members of council, including the remuneration and any benefits that they receive, expenses that they incur. So the report is before you. It's standard across all municipalities and has to be filed in March and accepted by council of each year.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? All in favor, please. Thank you. Item B, Bancroft OPP Detachment Board. Resolution before us, be it resolved, the Council of the Corporation of Town of Bancroft has hereby received the 2025 Bancroft OPP Detachment Board budget for information purpose. And further that the Council of the Corporation of Town of Bancroft has hereby approved of the Town of Bancroft share of $4,800 of the Bancroft OPP Detachment Board 2025 operating budget. And further that staff be directed to remit the Town of Bancroft's contribution to the Bancroft OPP Detachment Board as requested. Councillor Mullet, you'll move that?
I would be pleased to move it, but I'm getting the money, so I'm just wondering if there's a conflict.
I don't think so.
I'll move it if you wish.
Yeah, but you need to talk on it, since you're right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll move by Deputy Mayor Wiggins and the seconder, please. Councillor Miles. So
Thank you very much. That was actually our second budget. We passed an interim budget last year, which I think was around $4,500 to finish the last 3 months. This year the budget is set at $20,000, and it is broken down by percentage rate for each municipality. The same way they've done it with the other things. So we're one of the higher paying groups, but we've got the people, and that's what it's turned out to be. The group is starting to work quite well together. We've hired a new secretary treasurer, and she's come on board just last month meeting. So we're looking forward to working with her, and seems to be doing very well. And I think most of the people now that sit on the board feel a bit more comfortable with dealing with items. So we'll see what happens in the future.
I think it would be fair to say that through the formation process of this, there's been a lot of confusion as to what actual authority or what the role of the board is. You want to clarify a bit on that?
Well, what I will do is, I think we have put on our website the actual what we do from statute. So we assist the detachment commander in doing things. We have no say in operating procedures, that sort of thing. But it's very similar to the former backpack committee, other than this is much more a legal entity. So it's coming along. We're still finding our way and what we should be doing and not doing. And I'll try and remember to bring the statute so everybody can read what we do, because it's sort of general in the whole process.
Okay, thank you. Is there any comments or questions on that? Councillor Eastman?
Councillor Mullet, would you give us an example of what your committee would do? Or like, what is it? Could you give us an example of what your committee would be prioritized, like, or what you do?
We look at, we have procedural bylaws for ourselves, for the committee. If there's, if we receive a complaint regarding the OPP, we can send that on to the intake and the investigator for the OPP. And we and all the municipalities, 8 of the municipalities, work with the detachment commander to assist him and let him know what each municipality is in need of, that sort of thing.
So would you say you're like an ombudsman or like a go-between between the area and?
No, I wouldn't say not like that. We had a very good working relationship with the detachment commander with Backpack, and that's just simply carried on. So we've got the 8 municipalities, and some are further south, and they don't require as much attention as some of the other ones do. So we have some input on where, if there's some issue, each municipality has some input on where we would like some more police presence.
Thank you.
I know you mentioned that the area that the board services, but I think we always like to take the opportunity to comment about, as you did, the great working relationship the town of Bancroft has with our local OPP detachment and our detachment commander. So, yeah.
Yeah, as we said, we worked with Jeff for quite a few years through Backpack, and so the staff sergeant knows all of us, and we've just found that it's been a very good working relationship with him and with the staff, and so hopefully it continues on.
Thank you. All in favor, please? Thank you. Item C, Stewards of Bancroft Eagles Nest Park, be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of Town of Bancroft is hereby approve of the request for funds in the amount of $1,362.74 from the Community Grants 2025 to be paid to the Stewards of Bancroft Eagles Nest Park. This is regarding the insurance funding. Councillor Miles, would you like to move that?
So moved.
And could I have a seconder on that, please? Seconded by Councillor Eastman. Maybe Andre, would you just comment on the historical aspect of this funding?
There we go. Helps if I push the button. Absolutely. Thank you. The Council of the Corporation has repeatedly for a number of years through community donations or community allocations pardon me, provided funding to the Algonquin Arts Council or the Art Gallery of Bancroft. Okay, well, same story. For many years, the council has provided support to Bancroft Eagles Nest, to the Friends of Bancroft Eagles Nest, to offset the cost of the insurance that they have to pay for their board and for the work that they do up at Eagles Nest. They have contributed so substantially to the growth and development of that park through various programs over the years and through their hands-on contributions as well. This protects the directors of that board with their liability and directors insurance. So we have consistently covered that through community grants and donations over the last number of years. And I would recommend that we refer that to council to budget deliberations again this year for that consideration.
Thank you. Any comments or questions on that? I'll just take this opportunity to thank the group. They do a great job maintaining various aspects of the town of Bancroft's park, which this is. And of course, they're now into the next phase of the park development, which extends into lands that are beyond the town of Bancroft's boundaries. So we look forward to that as well as we move down the road. So thank you very much. All in favor, please? So passed. Thank you. Art Gallery of Bancroft. Be it resolved, the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Bancroft is hereby direct the Art Gallery of Bancroft's monetary request to be considered in the 2025 budget deliberations. Could I have a mover and a seconder on that, please? Councillor Mullet, Deputy Mayor Wiggins, and Andre, would you like to comment on that as well?
Okay, so now that I've had the warm-up speech, I'll start that again. So through the support of council over a number of years, the Bancroft Art Gallery, or the Art Gallery of Bancroft, has received funding from council to support a number of different initiatives. We do fund the $500 per year for the Best in Show at the juried annual exhibit. We also fund an award for the Youth Art Show, which just happened this past week, I believe.
Yes.
To recognize the exemplary artistic talents of the youth in our community. So we have always funded that through community donations and community grants. This year, the Art Gallery is asking for continued support for those programs, but is also asking for funds to assist with the purchase of replacing what they label as an ancient antique laptop to help support the operations of the art gallery. So they're looking for some money toward replacing that as well. And it would be the recommendation of staff that these requests also be deferred to budget deliberations for consideration under that community grants program.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? All in favor, please. So passed. Thank you. Item E, 2024 Annual Bancroft Water Treatment Plant Annual Report. Be it resolved, the Council of the Corporation for the Town of Bancroft is hereby received the 2024 Annual Water Treatment Report as prepared by Veolia Canada. Could I have a mover and a seconder on that, please? Councillor Miles, and seconded by Councillor Mullet. I guess we don't have anybody here today to talk about it.
They are not here today, but staff from Veolia will be attending in April to present a summary of the water report that's in front of you and the wastewater report that they're just finishing up for the year. The water report we do have to accept in March of each year to be compliant with the MOE requirements. So that's why the report's here this month, but they're not, but they will be available to ask questions and provide an annual summary for you next month when they attend.
Thank you. Any comments? Councillor Mullet.
Just wondering, I'm assuming there's been no major issues? No?
No, none that have been reported to us or that we've had to report further.
Thank you.
Councillor Miles.
Just a reminder that the reporting does include replacing the water tower, and every time we get turned down, it doesn't make it any easier for the future of the cost to us as a community of replacing that water tower. And that's in there for this year. And if it gets booted down to the next year and the year after, it's not going to make the infrastructure of that water tower any better. So just when I read it in there, it kind of turns my stomach, and we just can't seem to get any funding from anybody to help with. That is a critical piece of our infrastructure. What do we do without that water tower?
So I think this goes hand in hand with the comments I made at my opening comments, but I do believe that the planning for replacement of this tower is underway as we speak. And maybe you'd like to comment on where we stand on that.
Yes, so Jake is here and he can provide further details, but we have been in contact with the appropriate folks who build water towers and design them and place them. We have received some preliminary costing estimates and some ideas about how that could look and what it could include. We have a better idea of what the scope of that project would be as a result of those conversations. And we are moving forward to try to gather that information so that we can formally begin that process of engaging those folks to design, build, cost, tender, all of those kind of things. I will remind you that in the water and wastewater budgets this year that you did approve, there is preliminary approval inside those budgets for the cost to begin that work and to do that with the ultimate project cost to be funded by debt if we don't subsequently receive grant funds before the work is actually completed.
So while it would be funded by debt, the repayment of that debt is already built into the rates that we have right now. And Jake, would you like to make any further comments on where you are to date and what's anything that has transpired, just for general information?
So far, we've just, as Honor mentioned, reached out to a few of the experts in the area and reviewed different options, different type of options that would suit. I know we looked at relocating the water tower, which doesn't appear to be a feasible option for us. But with what I've researched and that, it looks like the most efficient is just a replacement of our water tower on the same property beside it. But I'll be bringing a report to council next month on it, once I have a few more meetings with the people we've been speaking with.
Great, thank you. Any comments or questions? All in favor, please. So passed, thank you. Item F, World Autism Day Proclamation. I'll read this resolution. Whereas World Autism Day is recognized on April 2nd, 2025 in Canada, Autism Ontario is one of the largest collective voices representing the autism community, and the work we do helps all autistic individuals and families in their communities have access to meaningful support, information, and connections, not only on April 2nd, but every day throughout the year. And whereas autism impacts more than 135,000 individuals in Ontario, representing 1 in every 50 Canadian children and youth, it not only influences the lives of autistics, but also their friends, families, and communities. It's crucial for us to raise awareness and acceptance, provide support, and promote a more inclusive society. And whereas autism is a diverse spectrum that varies widely among individuals, each person's experience with autism can change over time. This evolving journey highlights the uniqueness of every autistic individual, emphasizing the need for understanding and support tailored to their specific needs. And whereas Autism Ontario is the leading source of information and referral on autism, and since 1973 has been providing support, information, and opportunities for thousands of families and individuals across the province. And whereas Autism Ontario is devoted to raising public awareness about autism and addressing the everyday challenges faced by individuals with autism, their families, and the professionals who work alongside them, we urge everyone to recognize and celebrate the unique differences and needs of others, fostering an inclusive environment where all individuals can participate fully in activities and discussions. Together, we can create a society that values and includes everyone. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of Town of Bancroft does hereby recognize April 2nd, 2025 as World Autism Day, while committing to embrace awareness and acceptance today and every day throughout the year. Could I have a mover and a seconder on that, please? Councillor Lawrence and Deputy Mayor Wiggins. Any comments or questions on that? Seeing none, all in favor, please. Thank you. We will take a 10-minute break. Thank you. Thank you. We'll reconvene the meeting of council now, please. We are on item 11, business arising from notice of motion. There is none. Notice of motion, there is none. Consent agenda, approval of the consent agenda. Be it resolved that items listed under the consent agenda, items 13B to 17G, be received by the corporation of the town of Bancroft for information. We don't have to pull the items if there is no action requested on them, but we can discuss any of them once we put this on the floor. So could I have a mover and a seconder to put that on the floor, please? Councillor Leisman and Councillor Miles. Any items that, well, first of all, I'd like to pull item D, which is the Housing Accelerator Fund 2 announcement. And I'll hand this over to our general manager to just echo what I said in my opening remarks.
Thank you, Mayor Jenkins. So this was the Housing Accelerator Fund Round 2 that we had applied for. We did apply for round 1 and were advised that our application was right on the cusp of being approved. But there was just a little too much competition and we didn't quite make the cut. I did attend a coaching session prior to submitting Housing Accelerator Fund 2, where we made a couple of very small tweaks to the application at the suggestion of our CMHC advisor. We're pretty confident going into this one, but we got the Dear John letter last week to advise that we were not successful because of the number of applications that they received and the competition for the funds. So we'll wait for Housing Accelerator Fund 3 and see if we decide to apply for that one.
I guess assuming there is a number 3, because obviously there's going to be a change of government and who knows what's happening. So as I mentioned in my opening remarks, we have spent a lot of time, effort, money through all of these applications, both these 2 Housing Accelerator Fund ones, an application for the Building Better Homes Faster, which there was supposed to be a rural portion. I don't think we actually ever applied for that, but we were waiting for it. That one got the rural portion got canceled and was moved over to the Wastewater Enabling Fund, I believe, which we did do an application for, which we have been denied on. And it seems like we're spinning our wheels and spending a lot of time and effort, even though we have a good cause, good case, I should say. And again, as we've all mentioned here many times, we are the hub community for the area. We have the wastewater services that lend itself to higher density housing, and we just cannot seem to get anywhere. So I don't know if anybody else has any comments on that, but very discouraging, you know. Councillor Millett.
No comment on the grant. It's unfortunate that staff goes through all of this work and we haven't received anything. I'm just wondering if it would be possible to invite our MPP to a council meeting and have a little open discussion.
Well, this one happens to be federal.
Well, federal too,
Yeah, so
both of them.
yeah, so obviously we know who our MPP is. We're not quite sure who's going to be our MP, depending on what happens in the next few weeks. And the election will be pretty. We should. Yeah, I think we should. Yeah, for sure. I do believe that's a good suggestion. So, and I do believe a couple of our council members, and myself included, have reached out to our MPP as they've either seen them around town or conversed with them directly. And I have had some good dialogue with them on a few items, but I think it would be great for him to come to council and for us to all just to reinforce what we're trying to do here, et cetera. So thank you. If there's no other comments on that particular one, the other one, Deputy Mayor Wiggins, you wanted to pull another item? Item G. Yeah, so there were 2 items in there. There was the letter from the OPP and the letter from support from Tudor and Cashel. So just as a little background information, for the last 2 years, the Warming Center has sat at the site of our future library. The last 2 winters, it's not quite 2 years, of our future library. And from day one, it was known that after this particular winter, it had to move. So the county did identify a site without, that council was not aware of it. It came to us, and there was a lot of initial opposition to that particular site. We did ask the OPP for comments on it. We didn't couch them or anything, and they came back with some of the same concerns that we had. So we thank the OPP for that. And unsolicited, Tudor and Cashel sent us a letter of support as well on our position there. So we continue to work on that. We do not want to lose the warming center. Andrea and I have spent considerable time going through the GIS information system, trying to find any piece of land that we think would be feasible. The big issue we have is that the grant that was received by the county through the province for this particular purpose, a piece of land has to be purchased, an offer of agreement, by March 21st. So we had very little time to act on this. And we have identified a piece of land and are trying to get some action on that. We'll discuss that further in our next meeting. But yeah, as well, I did have a conversation with our MPP yesterday, who met with the minister today, who directly asked for an extension. And while he was not able to grant it because of the situation right now with the government not really being in session, he did say that I believe he said if he was appointed to the same ministry next week, that he would definitely look at it at that time. So we will see what happens on that. So, Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, I'd like to just make a comment there that the county is working hard with us to try to look after this warming center. They did come up with a location, I think rather quickly without much consultation with us. And we were quite perturbed with the location as per this letter from the OPP. And I must say the county has responded by saying it's off the table, that location. So we're presently looking for a different one, but it's nice to see that the county is at least working with us on this. And hopefully we can come up with a good location. This is all prelude to the fact that with our new library build, that trailer warming center has to be moved out of there by the end of March, I believe. So this is what all the hubbub is about right now. So anyway, thanks staff for working with us on getting it this far. Thank you.
Thank you. So any other comments or questions on the consent agenda? Seeing none, all in favor, please. Item 14, community announcements and events. Does anybody have anything? Andrea.
If there are no members of council, I have a couple of things. Okay, the first one is breaking news. The infamous blue garbage truck is not in service as of this afternoon. So we will be making changes to garbage collection in town tomorrow. Garbage collection will be postponed till Friday, but recycling collection will occur as scheduled tomorrow. We didn't want to completely eliminate garbage collection again this week because it was eliminated last week as a result of the ice storm. So we've postponed garbage collection until Friday. We will be doing recycling collection tomorrow. The radio station has been advised it's on our Facebook page now and will be on the town website momentarily as well. So please tell your neighbors and your friends, put the recycling out, but hang on to their garbage till Friday. So that's number one. And then number two is just to advise everyone that load restrictions will be placed on all township roads beginning on Friday. This is to protect the roads from the spring thaw, from the pothole season, to protect the surfaces of the roads and maintain them in the best condition as possible as the warm temperatures arrive and the frost comes out of the ground. And we reaffirm our pothole bingo skills. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything? I'll mention a couple. I did attend I think it was about a week ago, the art gallery fundraiser, which was extremely successful. It was a great event. Very similar to the, if anybody was around many years ago, the shadow box sort of auction that they did with this same thing. It was a draw, and the artist donated little 10 by 10s, and people bought tickets on them, and they were drawn, and you basically got to pick. So, Roy Mitchell was the MC and did a great job and kept everybody entertained. And I'm going to let Andra speak on one that she doesn't even know yet. Maybe you would like to comment on the upcoming Playhouse Gala and fundraiser.
I would be pleased to do that. So the gala is called the Undercover Gala. It will be hosted by the Playhouse Committee and the staff at Tweed & Company on Friday, April 11th. The band that is attending is called the Undercovers, and they do covers of Lionel Richie, Smokey Robinson, and if you give me a second, it'll come to me. Anyway, 3 really awesome musicians. Your entry ticket gets you a past cocktail dinner provided by our friends at the Granite, as well as access to the bar, a bunch of fun prizes and games through the night. There will be a silent auction, 50-50, all that kind of great stuff, with all proceeds staying at the Playhouse to kick off the fundraiser for the installation of an elevator to make the whole building accessible, including the upstairs, the downstairs, and stage level, to provide opportunities for entertainers who have differing mobility abilities than those of us who don't have mobility restrictions. So we've got a lot of really talented people in our community and in our region who have lots to contribute to theater, but those rickety steps to get up and down onto the stage limit their ability to participate. So we're excited to make the theater truly accessible to everyone of all abilities.
Thank you. And is there anything else from anybody? Okay, that is great. Thank you very much. Accept bylaws for second and third reading. Be it resolved that the following bylaws be introduced and read a first, second, and third time, be finally passed, and that the mayor and clerk do sign and seal the same, any rule of this council to the contrary notwithstanding. Bylaw number 15-2025 being a bylaw to approve and authorize execution of municipal forest fire agreement between the corporation of the town of Bancroft and His Majesty the King in right of Ontario, is represented by the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry. Bylaw number 16-2025 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 12-2023, being a bylaw to appoint committee members to various boards, committees, and commissions for the town of Bancroft. Bylaw number 17-2025 being a bylaw to appoint an acting deputy clerk for the corporation of the town of Bancroft. And bylaw number 18-2025 being a bylaw to amend Schedule A to bylaw number 85-2022 being a bylaw to regulate the keeping and control of dogs within the corporation of the town of Bancroft. Could I have a mover and a seconder, Councillor Lawrence and Councillor Eastman? Does anybody require any further explanation on any of those bylaws? Seeing none, all in favor, please. Thank you. Okay. We have a closed session of council, moving into closed session. Oh, before we do that, there was one other thing that I wanted to mention. I totally forgot what it is now. So I should have wrote it down. Anyway, I'll remember in a moment here. Moving to closed session, be it resolved, the council of the corporation of the town of Bancroft is hereby moving to closed session pursuant to Municipal Act SO 2001, Section 239 2B. Personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. F, advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose. K, a position plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board. General nature, Faraday Waste Management Board, request of expression of interest, residual waste, Detler United Church Cemetery, Human Resources, and the Warming Center, Bancroft. Could I have a mover and a seconder to move into closed session? Councillor McGibbon and Councillor Lawrence. All in favor, please. Thank you.